I need all the wins, yeah. Ain't no L's, I gotta get a no call to quits, yeah. Gotta keep on moving no matter how hard it gets, yeah. Better move out the way, cause I'm coming with harder hits. My head is as hard as a brick, but I'm harder than all it is. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. My heart on my sleeve, stress, on my greed. That's how I get it. Success ain't no giving. Some days I don't eat, I don't sleep. When I'm focused, I'm dangerous. They don't wonder when I'm anxious. Ain't no limit till I tank. I'm running on fumes. The opposition don't amaze. The roads racing through the pavement. Get your hands out of my bag. I know this because I've been in it. I don't need to brag. I guess that's what happens when you taking care of your business. But some family, you do the math. I'm out of my pocket. Houston, we got a problem. I ain't perfect. Let them watch me elevating. Got them nauseous cause I'm the pilot in the cockpit. Nose diving in the house and whoo. Watch out, get it here. Watch out, get it here. Watch out, get it here.
It's time! Welcome to DFS by the Numbers with your host, Brady.
Better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers and welcome to UFC 271 Best Bet. We have Israel Adesanya going against Robert Whittaker. Should be a very fun card. Definitely looking forward to it. Looking forward to making some money. And yeah, we have 14 fights. I did start the stream up a little bit early here, but I'm here with always Wheezy, Eric, and Narco. We'll start with you, Wheezy. Wheezy, you looking forward to shave the bookie's ass today?
Let's go, baby. I'm on a winning streak here. I want to keep that up. I want to keep bringing out that razor and that shaving cream to the bookie's room and take care of business. Let's cash some bets, man. Let's stack them like flapjacks tonight.
For sure. We got Eric as well. Eric, you ready for the card?
Yeah, man, I'm feeling good. I'm always excited for fights, but I'm feeling something in the air today or something. I don't know. I'm ready to do this.
Let's do it. And then last but not least, we have Narco, I saw your Twitter and you have a ton of action. So I know for sure you're looking forward to this card.
Man, I went, let's just say I went a little too heavy and didn't, and I'm not responsible basically with bankroll management here.
Yeah, you said screw bankroll management. I'm going all in on UFC 271. Hopefully you have a monster night, Narco, because yeah, I do like a lot of your spots there. But we'll talk about a lot of those spots before we do. So if y'all can please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Also go check these guys out on their YouTube channels. They do a great job. Shows every week with them. Do you want to shout out the chat before we get started? We have Andy, first one in here. We have the Mind of Jonathan. We have Thomas looking for that violence. We have Click to Continue, Quaver. We have Eagle, Shoot Proof, Prodigy in the chat as well. We have JD Stevenson, PSSA31, Ratea. We have Bimmer Dude, Eric, Vince, Alex, Ramirez, the General, Bob, Lee, Swagga, JSJ23. And I think, yeah, Daz and Doug as well. So, yeah, appreciate all you hanging out. Leave a like. I say we get right into it. Lots to talk about. Let's start with the very first fight of the night, which is William Knight going against Maxim Grisham. And we'll kick it off to you first, Wheezy. What are you liking for this first fight of the night?
Yeah, I don't have a bet on this one. And after William Knight missed weight by that much, I was like, I don't even want to touch this at this point. But, when I was looking through the lines trying to figure out something, I didn't want to just limp in here and give you another punk-ass draw call, that wasn't going to happen. So, I was just kind of looking to see where there was some value. And in my opinion, William Knight by decision at plus 525 could be worth a sprinkle at like a quarter unit or less to try to win a unit. He does seem to have really good cardio for a guy with that much muscle on his frame. And we all know he didn't work hard cutting weight this time. So potentially we could see his cardio hold up. He could win enough minutes over 3 rounds to get a greasy decision win over Grisham here. And since he's at such a reach disadvantage and such a height disadvantage, I think he might, get this into the clinch, try to push it up against the cage, make it real dirty. And if he's successful doing that, plus 525 is really fat for the Knight by decision prop.
Yeah, I mean, I hate this fight so much. I really wanted to see the Blood Diamond fight first to kind of kick off the night, right? But now we're going to start with this, and I feel like it's going to be a very greasy fight. I was picking Maxim Grisham before William Knight missed weight by 12 pounds, and I'm sticking with that pick. And if anything, which I'm not going to bet this fight, but it would still be that Grisham money line. I know a lot of money's been pouring in on him as of late, which is interesting considering Knight did miss weight by 12 pounds, but we saw at the weigh-ins that Grisham was still much bigger than Knight in terms of the height and reach. I will pick Grisham to win either a greasy decision or at some point finish William Knight. The 12 pounds is a very big concern for me on the Knight part. But yeah, I've no confidence in this fight. I really don't care for this fight. And I'll take Grisham money line, though, if anything. Narco, how about you? What do you like on this one?
All right, I'm going to give you a little nugget here that might change your mind a little. So, late breaking news that I found out today, William Knight was very sick in late December, got pneumonia, did not train for about 3 weeks, started training in like mid to late January, and then got this late minute call that he wasn't expecting. So with that being said, his cardio is probably not going to be very good. That is part of why he missed this weight. And with that being said, you know, I like Grisham late now, man. I like Grisham, and I like Grisham round 3 plus 1,300. I just think, you know, coming back, you know, having pneumonia is not a joke, and that's just very recent, man. And you know, his breathing is probably going to be compromised. I mean, he's going to get tired, and that's a 12-pound miss is eye-opening. So there had to be something there, and he's the one that said it. He wrote it somewhere on Twitter, or he replied to somebody saying that he was really sick and he had pneumonia. So that's that. I'll take Grisham late. You know, I have some props on him around 2 and around 3.
Wow, yeah, that's some new. When did you say that he posted that?
It was just recent. I don't remember where I found it. I'm gonna look it up and see if I can find it. But yeah.
And
maybe
now I feel like an asshole for saying Knight by decision. A real prick.
You should.
Thanks, Narco. No, it's good information though, man, because I don't have a bet on this fight, and I wasn't gonna bet that. But man, you know, forget about Knight by decision. If that's the case, forget it.
That's not good. That's not good. Eric, do you have anything on this fight?
Yeah, I do have a bet here. I stayed up super late last night watching tape and typing up notes, and maybe I wasn't in my right mind, but it was like 3 a.m, and I ended up pulling the trigger on Grisham's money line at, I think it was minus 165. I just kept coming back to the idea that, you know, Grisham's best win condition is process based, and I feel like Knight's best win condition is just kind of finding that moment, and I like Grisham to just kind of keep it measured and keep that approach consistent and probably win a decision here.
Yeah, sounds good. I mean, I'm not going to bet it, but Grisham would be the one spot I'd be looking at, and especially after hearing the news of William Knight, it's really intriguing. Narco?
So, yeah, he posted it on the 11th, and he replied to a person named Chappelle Benjamin. He said, I can read it for you guys. He said, definitely, bro. So this time I was 242, which I don't walk around like that. I was sick for 2 weeks, and shit was fucked up. Excuse my language. I had pneumonia in December after I hit, and then I didn't get into the gym until the second week. I was told that all cards were full, so I didn't train my best, and I thought it was full and then worth. So then less than 3 weeks, I got a call for short notice, and trust me, I'll get back to 225. I promise. I don't know what that means, but he was basically sick and wasn't expecting a fight, basically. That's
not good. And then he missed the weight by 12 pounds. So yeah, that's very important information there. But yeah, good news there, Narco. I'm glad to hear that. But yeah, I still have no bet on this fight, but that Grisham money line is tempting still. I'll move on to the next fight of the night, and this is a fight that I'm really, really looking forward to. I think this one's going to be an absolute banger for as long as it lasts. We have Jeremiah Wells going against Blood Diamond, which has to be one of the best nicknames I've ever seen. We will start with you, Eric. What are you liking for a Jeremiah Wells Blood Diamond?
Yeah, I didn't find a ton of tape on Blood Diamond, and what I did see didn't really impress me. I mean, even the kickboxing footage I watched, I wasn't super impressed with him. We've seen Wells come out like a bat out of hell and pressure and try to get the thing done. And I think, if he comes out like that and he's just looking to, not allow Blood Diamond to, place his feet and land shots. If Wells comes out hard and is looking to get this to the ground, I don't mind a bet on Wells by sub in round 1, which was about plus 350 last time I looked. I didn't bet it, but if I was going to, that's probably where I'd be looking.
Yeah, that's kind of how I see the fight as well. I think if I'm Jeremiah Wells, I'm taking this down to the mat instantly. I'm not even messing around on the feet. I think he could have success in terms of landing a hard shot, but take this guy down, Wells is a black belt in BJJ. Get him out of there with a submission. The prop that I'm going to go with, though, is going to be the under 1.5. I see -160. I'm not a big fan of the under 1.5 rounds, but this one really sticks out. I see it going one of two ways. I think Wells either comes out here, knocks this guy out early, takes him down, submits him early, or we've seen that Blood Diamond. This guy's going to come out here. He's going to spam head kicks like crazy. Maybe one of those lands. I think the most likely scenario is a Wells early finish in that first round, but I think that under 1.5 rounds does cover both sides there. -160. Narco, you liking anything for this fight?
Yeah, from a betting perspective, I'm staying away. It's just kind of a high volatile type of fight because, Jeremiah Wells does have a huge grappling edge, but he tends to get a little crazy on the feet. And I think if he gets crazy on the feet here, he can easily get countered by this guy who's a world champion kickboxer. So with that being said, I think he's going to be probably a little more careful. And, I couldn't really honestly find a very good prop here. I took a stab at Blood Diamond first round KO at +700 just because, Wells leaves himself open, man. He throws those bombs and he's not technical while, Blood Diamond is. So, he might be able to find that chin early.
Yeah, for sure. If Wells comes out here, strikes with Blood Diamond, for technique-wise, it's Blood Diamond all day. What was that +700 first round knockout you said?
Correct, yeah.
There you go. Weezy, how about you? Anything sticking out for this one?
Yeah, dude, the fight doesn't go to decision juice to the tits up at -550 here. That's crazy, dude. That's nuts. And I don't really want to touch the props here because I kind of feel like Wells should be the more well-rounded mixed martial artist, and he should be able to exploit this hole in Blood Diamond's grappling that we just assume is there because we've never really seen him grapple with any success. And then not only that, Wells got a ton of power too. So I don't want to get cute on this one. You can get Wells -220, -225. I think that's a great bet just on the straight money line. Put your money on the more experienced, more well-rounded mixed martial artist who also has a ton of power, just like Blood Diamond does. So that's the way I'm going to attack this one.
Sounds good to me. Bernie, get your thoughts on surprise pick lines. Appreciate the dono, Bernie. I guess I was looking through. The one thing that stuck out to me was going to be the Phillips under 10 minutes. I think that fight does finish within the first 2 rounds. Any of these stick out to you guys?
Dobson under 11 minutes should be really interesting too. And Ullberg might land 37.5 significant strikes in the first 2 minutes, dude.
I like that. I like that. I'm just afraid he might fold.
That's the problem. That's the problem, dude. Every time Charant gets touched, man, he melts.
Definitely. But I appreciate you, Bernie, for the dono there. We'll keep moving on to the next fight. We have Douglas Silva de Andrade going against Sergey Morozov. We'll start with you, Weezy. You like anything on this fight?
Yeah, I am. I've got a bet on this one. I've got the round 3 or decision prop for Morozov here. I do like his ability to be able to win a lot of minutes wrestling in this fight. We really did see him use that wrestling and show how many minutes in a fight he can win using his wrestling when he's fighting somebody that doesn't have that necessarily as a big part of their game plan. It's the same thing for Taha as it's going to be here for Morozov's current opponent because this is a guy who, in his last 2 losses, has lost to guys who are both undefeated, guys Evloev and Nurmagomedov. So those are the last 2 losses for Morozov here. Douglas Silva de Andrade has only been controlled about 1/8 of his entire UFC career on the fence and on the ground, but he hasn't seen a whole lot of takedown attempts, and he's been getting stood back up in fights where Barao got stood up twice after taking him down. I think that, Morozov is a smart fighter. I think he knows where his advantage is here, and I think we can count on him to wrestle. And if he does, I think he either finishes this thing late or wins by decision. So Sergey Morozov, round 3 decision, -115 on FanDuel. I got it at -125 on DraftKings last night, 1.25 units to win 1.
Yeah, I think that's a good spot. I was very tempted on that one. I was very tempted on the money line as well. I will give out the money line. I did not quite get there, but yeah, like you said, Sergey Morozov, he's going to go out there. He's going to fight smart. He has very good fight IQ. He's fought very good competition in and outside of the UFC. He's going to come in here with a good game plan. He has good cardio to back up that good game plan, which is going to be takedowns. I guess my only concern would be that, Andrade does hit very hard. Andrade is 36.5, but my goodness, he looked good on the scales. But I think, Morozov is going to come out here, take this guy down. Hopefully not mess around on the feet too much, but I think the takedowns would be the difference. I think he does probably win a decision. So I'm going to go with Morozov money line. I could also see a late finish potentially if Andrade does slow down, but I do like that minus 200. I think it got down like minus 190 at one point, but I see minus 190 on 5 dimes, so I'll go with that. Narco, how about you? What are you liking for Morozov Andrade?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you guys. I like Morozov here, and basically, the Henan Barao fight kind of is a red flag to me, where he was on bottom and basically won that fight because it got stood up when it shouldn't have. So, Morozov, smart fighter, decent striker. I would give the advantage to De Andrade, but, I honestly don't see him finishing Andrade just because Andrade has only been finished twice in his career in 31 fights, and that's to two really high-level guys in Peter Yan and Rod Font. So with that being said, yeah, I do like Morozov here, and I like Morozov by decision at plus 115.
Morozov by decision plus 115. There you go. And then how about you, Eric? What do you like for this fight?
I'm again going to provide the disclaimer that this was a bet that I placed at 3 a.m. when my brain was scrambled and my eyes were burning from watching tape all day. But so keep that in mind. But I did actually put a unit on Douglas Silva de Andrade's money line at plus 180 early this morning. And, I was basing that largely on him just being a tough, sturdy veteran that hits hard. I definitely see, when I really break down the fight technically in my head, I can definitely see why Morozov is the favorite. So this was more based on a feeling about who he is as a fighter than it is based on any solid technical analysis, if I'm being entirely honest. But I went ahead and took the stab on Silva de Andrade plus 180.
All right, taking a shot on the underdog. There you go. I like it. Bernie with another donut. Appreciate you, Bernie. Love it. Real talk. I just watched Brady's videos, try to correlate it to Prize Picks. Going to toss some more cards, mixing them in with NBA. Thanks. No problem, Bernie. Thank you for hanging out with us on a Saturday. So yeah, a little bit disagreement there, but I think we can all agree that it's going to be a pretty solid fight, as is the next one. And we have Jacob Malcoon going against AJ Dobson. And I will let you kick this one off. Narco, what do you like in here?
Yeah, you know what? I like the Dobson side here. I also like, this guy's built like a tank. He trains at Westside Barbell, which is known like one of the best strength and conditioning clubs in the nation. And, he trains with Matt Brown at Immortal. So this guy, he's a purple belt in BJJ. He's built like an absolute unit. You saw the size discrepancy at face-offs. This guy's super, super strong and has a lot of power in his hands. So with that being said, I like Dobson by KO at plus 185. I know a lot of people are on Malcoon and think he's going to wrestle here, but, Dobson does have a high school wrestling background. The gas tank is the issue for me. Like, I'm not very sure how his gas is going to look. So, if this fight gets out of the first round, I might be looking to bet Jacob Malcoon, depending on how he looks, how Dobson looks after one. So I do like Dobson early, though. KO, just KO at plus 195.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I did play it a different way, though. I saw on DraftKings Sportsbook that they had Dobson to win in either round 1 or round 2 at plus 180. So I did take that because I could, see a submission. Like you said, he's a purple belt. He has a couple subs on his record. I think most likely it is knockout. And then on top of that, I'm getting not only the first round, but the second round as well, if it was like an early finish in that second. But yeah, I think most likely Dobson comes out here and starts as Malcoon. Like you said, at the weigh-ins, he was the bigger guy. And then it looked like Malcoon didn't even want to be there at ceremony weigh-ins. I don't know what it was, but it didn't look like he was ready to fight. So we'll see if that shows up in the cage tonight. But I think Dobson starches him early. But I definitely get why people are taking some shots on Malcoon. We saw what he was able to do to Abdulrazak Alassane, taking him down after and mixing in the control time and all that and winning a decision. I could see that, but, Dobson's a beast. He hits hard, and I think he finishes Malcoon very early. Wheezy, how about you? What do you like in here?
Yeah, this guy Dobson's terrifying, man. He's so terrifying. I'm just going to go with round 1 KO plus 400. I think that's what he's going to do. I think this is going to look a lot like Hawes versus Malcoon. I think this guy's going to come forward. I think he's going to land a big shot, and I don't think there's many people in this division that could take more than 1 or 2 big shots from Dobson. He's like Narco said, he's just an absolute unit. and he's got crazy power. So that's the way. As a matter of fact, I played that. I've got that sprinkled for a quarter unit, trying to win one. Dobson first round KO.
Yeah, I think that's his most likely path to victory, and I do see it happening as well. Eric, are you seeing the fight the same as us, or are you on the other side?
Yeah, I would echo a lot of what you guys said. I think the bet that I like the most here is the under 2.5. It was minus 160 last time I looked. I mean, obviously, like you guys mentioned, Dobson's likely going to come out hard looking for that knockout early. There's a good chance he finds it. If he doesn't, I like Malcoon to potentially be able to take him down. And Dobson does have some wrestling and some grappling, but I like Malcoon to potentially be able to take him down and wear him out over time and potentially find a finish. So I do see this fight finishing one way or the other.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I was tempted on the under 2.5, but I thought that if it does finish under, I'm more so it's going to be Dobson. Maybe Malcolm can finish him late, but I do think we're kind of all three or all four of us are on the same page there. But we'll keep moving on to the next fight. We have Ronnie Lawrence going against Mana Martinez. I will let you kick this one off. Wheezy, what are you liking for this fight here?
Yeah, this is a good one. I'm a big fan of Ronnie Lawrence, and I've loved watching him thus far in the UFC. And even his LFA performance right before the UFC was just a masterclass. The guy's super fun to watch. If you like wrestling, you'll love watching Ronnie Lawrence. That being said, this line is really wide right now. He's sitting around minus 300 everywhere. You kind of have to play the props in order to get any kind of value. But, something stuck out to me here, and that was Mana Martinez. In his 9 wins, he's won 8 of them by knockout. And Ronnie Lawrence just cuts an absolute ton of weight to make it down to 135. He might be chinny. I think it's Mana Martinez's only path to victory is a first-round knockout, and that's the way he's won basically 88% of his pro fights. So to get that at plus 1,300, you can play it for just a tiny little sprinkle here. And if Ronnie doesn't have his way and he slips on a banana peel here, you can make some money off of that. So that's where I played. I actually do have a 1/8 of a unit bet on Martinez to win this one by first round KO, even though I do believe that Ronnie Lawrence is going to win this.
Plus 1,300. Very juicy there. Narco, what do you like for this fight?
Yeah, I love Ronnie Lawrence. I kind of echo everything Wheezy said. I think he's have a huge grappling edge here. He just got his black belt. Looking at the submission, I got it at 750. It's still sitting around 700, which I think is a gift right now. And, I just have a ton of props on Lawrence here, late round props. He's going to have a huge cardio edge. I mean, the guy is a cardio machine. When you take a guy like – these are spots that I look at for props. A guy with a tank like Lawrence, right? He's got this unbelievable gas tank against the guy in Martinez whose gas tank kind of sucks, and he hasn't been deep in fights at all. Like Wheezy said, they're all been knockouts in the first round. Imagine going up against a guy like Ronnie Lawrence, who's had 20 takedowns in 2 fights in the UFC. I mean, he's going to drown this guy, and I think he's going to drown him either in the second or third round. So I did take a hedge on Martinez round 1 KO because I do like, that's his path, and you're getting plus 1,300. But I'm all over Ronnie Lawrence here. I think he's going to drown this guy, and it's going to be either the second or third round.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I'm with you. I like Ronnie Lawrence a lot. Do not have an official bet on him, but not a ton of props stick out for me on this one. I guess I would just keep it short and sweet and say Ronnie Lawrence money line minus 302 parlay piece potentially. I do like this matchup for him quite a bit. He has phenomenal wrestling. He has the cardio to back it up. Mana Martinez, if he does win, it is going to be in the first round. I think Ronnie Lawrence takes him down over and over. I will say, I have a ton of Ronnie Lawrence on DraftKings, so that's kind of where I'm getting my exposure. I have like 55%, 60% on Ronnie Lawrence. So I'm hoping he comes out here, takes down Mana over and over, and racks up a big score. But from a betting perspective, nothing for me. But if I was to play something, maybe a parlay piece for Ronnie Lawrence, I do think he wins this fight more often than not. Eric, how about you? What do you like for this fight?
Yeah, I dig those props that both Narco and Wheezy brought up there. But what I had penciled in here, yeah, I don't mind using Ronnie Lawrence as that minus 300 is pretty wide, but I don't mind using Ronnie Lawrence as a parlay piece here. But the one that I penciled in was Ronnie Lawrence inside the distance, which was sitting at around plus 200 last time I looked. I think that way you're covering the sub, but also he can be pretty active with the ground and pound on the ground. I think to me, that feels more likely that he's going to be controlling on the ground and staying busy with ground and pound and potentially find a finish that way. So I don't mind that inside the distance at about plus 200.
Sounds good. Yeah, I cannot wait for this fight. I am very high on both guys. Was kind of upset to see them match each other up against each other, but we'll see who pulls it off. So next fight, we have Carlos Ullberg going against Fabio Charant. Uncle Weezy, kick us off on this one.
All right, so look, I've got Ullberg inside the distance at minus 135 in a greasy four-legger that I put out on FanDuel. That four-legger I put out on my Twitter, so you could check it out there. But I've done something else, but I'm not telling you guys unless all three of yous promise not to call 1-800-GAMBLER on me.
I promise.
Narco?
I don't know about that.
Dude, just promise, man. Promise.
All right, I got you. One time.
Eric,
I will promise.
All right, thank you. Okay, so check it out. All right, I haven't lost my mind. Okay, everything's all right with me. Don't send wellness checks over here or anything like that. But if Carlos Ullberg were to lose this fight, you guys, how would he lose it? To a guy like Charant, a guy with a glass chin. We've never seen wrestle. We've never even seen him get a takedown in the UFC. If he does lose this fight, you would expect a kickboxer to lose by submission, and you would expect a guy like Charant, who has won so many fights by submission in his career, to win it by submission. So if I told you right now that Fabio Charant by submission is plus 950 on FanDuel right now, would you be willing to sprinkle that? Any of you guys?
I mean, I think that's how he wins, Charant.
Right, I mean, he's won 71% of his pro wins are by submission. 5 of his 7 wins by submission. You know, the bookies are giving him about a 25% chance to win this fight. If he wins it, it's probably by submission. There's probably some value there at plus 950. I put an eighth of a unit on it. I'm okay, you guys. Don't worry about your Uncle Weezy. It's a small bet. I'm worrying about bankroll management. Yes, I am a little bit ashamed to be betting Fabio Charant, but I did it. And I'm going to own it, okay? So that's it.
There you go. It looks like you moved the line, Weez. Looks like it's plus 750 now on FanDuel as
That's
well.
right, baby. That's right.
You're moving lines out here, Weezy. So you got a good line. I think if Charant wins, it could be by submission. The guy has a bunch of submissions on his record, and if he does, take the fight down to the mat, I could see it. Narco, how about you? Are you on the Charant by submission? You're looking at something else?
Yeah, this is what they call the ass shaving of the week.
Hey,
that Weezy calls. So, I like Ullberg by KO, man. This guy, his striking is really, really good. Looking back at that first fight, this is what we can tell ourselves. Those punches that landed on Kennedy, is Charant going to be able to take those?
No.
I don't think so, man. He's going to be out of there if he and not to mention that a lot of guys in city kickboxing talk about how this guy kicks like no other in that gym, including Adesanya, including anybody. This guy's kicks are nasty. His front kicks are nasty. This is a bigger cage, which helps him. And to top it off, honestly, when you watch Fabio Charant, and I've watched a ton of his fights, even regionally, the guy does not grapple. A lot of those chokes are like standing chokes where he falls down and gets them. And it's not like Ullberg is going to try to get close to clinch against this guy. He's going to pick this guy apart, and we got a bigger cage. So give me Ullberg all day here. I honestly think he's going to get the KO. It might not be very early because he might be cognizant that he burned himself out last time, but I think he's going to eventually get it here.
Yeah, I have the fight doesn't go to decision in a parlay, but this line really does stick out. Ullberg by KO on DraftKings at minus 125. It was actually minus 135, but they put it to minus 125. That's very tempting to me. I don't think Charant's going to be able to stand with Ullberg here for long at all. I mean, this is Charant who got knocked out by William Knight. This is Charant who got outstruck 44-7 against Alexa Kamor. I think Charant's going to have to show us something that we've never seen before for him to win this fight. And maybe that's possible. He's been training at good camps. I've seen him at Fight Ready, Sanford MMA. So maybe he comes in here with a good game plan, but it's literally going to be the first time in his career. I've seen one fight where he went out there, fought smart, got takedowns. If he does that here, Weezy's sub prop could be live, but I haven't seen it, so I can't really predict that. I think Ullberg starches him here within the first couple minutes. Eric, what side are you liking here?
I am hoping that you will all extend me the same courtesy that you have extended Weezy today.
Ooh. Okay.
I'll just say a little bit first. I think that Ullberg probably whoops Charant here. I agree with that. He probably does. But Fabio Charant, he hasn't had a chance to show us anything in the UFC yet. He hasn't had a chance to really get anything going. He knows if he loses here, he's going to be out the door. So I started thinking, again, it was 3 a.m. or whatever. I started thinking, Charant, knowing those things, he's got to come out here thinking, I need to get this fight to the ground. He's got to know that. I ended up putting 0.2 units on Charant by sub in round 1 at plus 1,600.
Wow. This is great. This is why drug addicts hang out with other drug addicts who have a bigger problem with them, because it could always just be like, I mean, you're saying I got a problem, but look at Eric over there. This is great. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate that, man. You're covering me, baby. Yep. Love it.
That's awesome. So both you guys kind of on the same page. It could happen. I mean, if Charant was smart at all, and any up fight, I mean, he's getting this fight down to the mat. So, we'll see what happens. Plus 1,600 first round sub. But let's see if you hit that, Eric. I think that's very juicy there. We'll keep moving on. We have over 500 in the chat here. If you can please smash the like button. Let's get those likes up. Also subscribe to the channel. Me, Narco, Eric, and Wheezy all go live 1 hour prior to the prelims each and every single week. We are now going to talk about a very, very exciting fight. Probably one of the better fights on the prelims here. We have Kyler Phillips going against Marcelo Rojo, a fight that was on the main card and just recently got switched down to the prelims. But yeah, this fight's going to be really good. We'll start with you, Narco Cop. What do you like for this fight here?
Man, this is another one. Shout out to Easy. This is another ass shaving, man. Like, I love Kyler Phillips. I love everything he does. His striking, he has a lot of power. He's got a great ground game. Guy is very explosive, great footwork. I mean, you name it. He's better everywhere versus Rojo here. And, looking at this guy, it's a shame that it was a draw last time out when he clearly got a 10-8 in the first round and he got robbed. But, it is what it is. But, Kyler Phillips has fought really good guys in Yadong Song, which now looking at that victory, it looks a lot better. So, this guy is, he puts people out. The guys that he doesn't put out are guys like Paiva Song, Victor Henry, Brad Katona, guys that historically have never been put out by anybody. So, but give him lesser opponents like Marcelo Rojo, and he's going to put him out of there. So give me inside the distance, Phillips. Give me Phillips by sub. Give me Phillips all over the place, guys.
Yeah, and Narco, I saw your betting card. It was like all Phillips. I mean, yeah, like half your card was this fight. So yeah, I mean, I see it the same way. Wheezy, what do you like for this fight here?
Yeah, I mean, I have Kyler down as my ass shaving of the week. I think it's the most one-sided matchup on, and when this thing was on the main card, it looked to me like not only were they looking to build up on Phillips, but they were giving him an opponent that he could finish on purpose. Rojo, 7 career losses, the last 5 losses, all inside the distance. Yeah, man, it's Phillips inside the distance, minus 140 on Bet Online. I got Phillips by ass shaving here.
There you go. I'm going to put out a prop. I messaged Wheezy like a couple days ago. And I said, man, Phillips by submission's really sticking out at plus 550. And that looks like it's everybody's prop of the week. Everybody's betting this. I did not pull the trigger on it, but it's just crazy to see that Phillips by submission is plus 550 and Phillips by knockout is plus 110. Because kind of how I see the fight going down, I think Rojo's ground game is really bad. The guy's been submitted 4 or 5 times. Phillips is like a brown belt or black belt in BJJ, very good grappling. I think if I'm Phillips, I'm taking this fight down to the mat. He has good wrestling, and then I'm submitting Rojo. I did not like what I saw in terms of the submission defense from Rojo. So I know Phillips has the majority of his wins are by knockout or decision, but again, if I'm Phillips, I'm getting this fight down to the mat. I'm submitting Rojo here. But yeah, plus 550, and it seems to be moving on other books, plus 300 on Bet Online. It's because everybody's betting it. So that scares me a little bit, but if I was to bet something in this fight, it would be that. And I also saw Phillips to win in either rounds 1 or rounds 2 was plus 110. I think it was on Fando. I don't hate that as well. I think Phillips wins this fight, whether it is by knockout or submission. I think it's pretty early within the first 1.5 rounds. Eric, how about you? What are you liking for this fight?
I really don't have anything to add, and I agree with everything y'all said. I like Phillips by sub here. Also, I like the round props at Phillips by sub. You can get Phillips by sub in round 3 if you think Rojo lasts that long for plus 2,800, or that's what it was at 3 a.m. or whatever when I looked at it. But yeah, I agree with everything you guys said. I like Phillips here.
There we go. Looks like we are all on Phillips, and we are all on Phillips to more than likely go out there and shave some ass. So we'll move on to the people's main event. We have Adesanya, Whittaker this week. We have Derek Lewis, Tuivasa, and all I keep seeing is chatter about Roxanne Mataferry going against Casey O'Neill. It's crazy how these things work out. So many great fights on this card, but all I see is Roxanne Mataferry, Casey O'Neill. So we'll start with you, Narco Cop. Are you liking anything for this fight here?
Yeah, I mean, I took Casey O'Neill round 2, round 3. I know Roxanne hasn't been finished in 10 years and all that stuff, but Casey O'Neill, when she's on top, she just goes for it, man. Those elbows are just absolutely nasty. When she's advancing position, she's looking to smash you on the ground. And Mataferry, 39 years old, has been rocked in 4 straight fights. I mean, it's her last fight. She already announced it. Like these are all bad signs for me of a person that's kind of going out, and whether she goes out on her shield or not, it's to be determined. But looking at these other girls that said that most recently, I don't remember who it was, but she got stopped and she's never been stopped. Oh God, what's her name? I can't remember it, but I just like Casey O'Neill, man. Like, she has a good ground game. She has good grappling. She has good cardio. Not the best striking, but again, like, she's the younger girl, the more hungrier girl, and we got a girl on the way out announcing retirement. Give me Casey O'Neill round 2, round 3 at 800 and 1,000.
All right, Wheezy, what do you like for this fight?
Yeah, I'm not messing with O'Neill this week. This line is just too wide, in my opinion. I can't do it. I mean, if there's one good way to lose money, it's betting on big female favorites for minus 400 and above. I mean, like, the 2 biggest bed shittings in MMA in the last year and a half have been in women's fights. It's the Agapova loss to Dobson, and it's the Pena win over Nunez. I can't support minus 400 here. If you're on that O'Neill side, either play the decision prop or the inside the distance prop. The only thing that I would do here is probably just maybe sprinkle Roxanne Mataferry if the line gets up to like plus 400 or something like that. But I just, here's the thing. People are talking about Casey like she's going to be winning gold sometime soon. I'm here to tell you she's not. Manfrero would punt her head into the upper deck in within 30 seconds. Erin Blanchfield would grind her head into dust onto the canvas. Miranda Maverick would fuck her up. So I don't think that Casey O'Neill is this minus 400 future gold. She's not there yet. She's too young. She's not there yet. Will she probably beat Roxanne Mataferry, who's got 1 foot out the door? Yeah, probably. Is this line too wide? In my opinion, yes. Am I gonna bet Roxy? I'll maybe like a quarter unit, maybe an eighth of a unit, but no. I'm staying away from Casey O'Neill here, you guys. I'll just say Roxanne moneyline is a punt, but I'm probably staying away from this fight.
Yeah, I know people in the chat are getting really upset with what you said, but I agree, Weez. I mean, she's not beating Miranda Maverick, Blanchfield, Tyler Santos, Manaffiore. I mean, they would destroy her all in a round. And I think O'Neill's still very green, but I will say that she's 24 years old. She's at a good gym. I do think we'll see some improvements. And luckily, she is fighting Roxanne. So I do think Casey O'Neill is going to win this fight. And no props really stick out. I do have 2 bets on this fight, but they're all the lines have moved. I have O'Neill by KO. I got it at plus 400. That's now like plus 300. And I got the over 2.5 at minus 155. It's now over minus 200. But if I was to play something now, I think O'Neill could potentially get a finish here. And I think if she does, I think it will be late, maybe in the 3rd round. I think O'Neill by KO plus 1,600 in the 3rd round is kind of where I'd look at. I'm not playing it, but if O'Neill does finish, I do think it'll be late. Roxy is very, very tough. Like Narco said, she has not been finished in over 10 years, and she's fought a lot better fighters than Casey O'Neill. But yeah, Casey O'Neill, when she gets on top, she does that thing where she just spams a ton of punches. She looks up at the ref. I could see a situation where the ref's like, okay, that's enough, stops the fight late in the fight, gets Casey O'Neill a KO win. So yeah, plus 1,600 kind of sticks out. But yeah, I'm not laying minus 400 on O'Neill this week, and I am rooting for Roxanne Mataferry here, but it's a tough matchup. Eric, what do you like in here for this fight?
Yeah, I actually did bet on Mataferry here. I think that, to me, the line seems a little crazy. I mean, it implied win probability for Mataferry sitting around like 20 to 24%. I think it's higher than that. And I'm basing that largely on the idea that what Mataferry really struggles with somebody who has top shelf strength and athleticism, because that's obviously kind of what she's lacking. Technically she's good, but she's obviously not someone who was born a plus athlete. And I think that Casey O'Neill is not a great athlete. And so when that's the case, I think it comes down more so to technique versus technique here. And like someone said, if O'Neill gets on top, she's very nasty on top. And we could see Mataferry kind of settle in on her back. That could be problematic. But I feel like Mataferry has the technique here. Obviously, she's not a great striker, but she's learned to kind of hold her own on her feet. And she's got the grappling. And I was willing to bet on Mataferry having a better chance to win than that, like in the 20 to 24% range. So I put a unit on her at plus 310.
I'll be rooting for you. I cannot do it myself. I will be fading Casey O'Neill in the future. Hopefully they put her against like a Tyler Santos or a Blanchfield. But I can't pull the trigger on Roxy. Do you want to shout out Hype MMA for the donation? $1.99. Appreciate you, Hype MMA. And I did see one other thing I wanted to comment on. Dev, my dude Dev, shout out to Dev. Casey's a lock, Dev. You said Miles Johns was a lock last week, so I don't know. We'll have to see if you can get this one. But I think Casey O'Neill wins, but I'm just not laying minus 400 is the thing. We'll move on to the next fight, though. We have Andre Arlovski going against Jared Vanderaa. I really struggled to find something on this, so I'll let you guys go first. Narco, you like anything on this fight?
Yeah, it's not like something I love or anything. But I took a shot with Arlovski decision plus 130. He's been a decision machine lately for the past, I would say, 10 years. I think he's never stopped anybody. Jared Vanderaa is pretty durable. The guy, where he lacks is when there's wrestlers against him and they give him that ground and pound. But, the guy's extremely durable, throws a lot of volume. I just think, there's kind of a narrative in my head here, honestly. Like, looking at Arlovski and his loss to Tom Aspinall, just look at the opponents they've been feeding him. Sherman, Felipe, and now Vanderaa. It just kind of tells me, he's done a lot for the UFC. He's been there a really long time. And they're basically giving him guys that he can get W's against. And, he's going to be the much better technical striker here. Like, if he uses his kicks, if he actually wants to wrestle here, which he probably isn't because he never does. But I just think, he's the better fighter overall. It's just the lack of volume, might get him here, might catch him in the ass. But again, honestly, and this is, it's got to be in people's minds. Like, judges have to favor Arlovski over a guy like Vanderaa if it's a close fight. So I just like Arlovski here by decision plus 130, but without a lot of conviction.
Yeah, I went with the same thing, Arlovski by decision. I'm not betting on this fight. Earlier in the week, I was tempted on the over. I was tempted on the fight goes to decision, but at the end of the day, this is a heavyweight fight, so that's a lot of chalk to be laying on the over, and I think it does go over. But Vanderaa, he is a decent finisher, and Arlovski has been finished like 14 times, and again, he's been finished by very, very good guys, and I don't think Vanderaa is the level of a guy like a Tom Aspinall, a guy like Stipe, a guy like Overeem, like guys like that. But nothing really shocked me in this fight. Andre Arlovski, he's 42 years old. I think he's about to turn 43. I just don't want to do it. I don't want anything to do with this fight. So if it was to bet something, it probably would be that Arlovski by decision. But I think this is going to be a very, very greasy fight. The volume concerns me as well. I could see Vanderaa just throwing more. I have no clue what's going to happen in this one, but I'll say Arlovski by decision. I think he is the more skilled fighter, even at 43 years old, plus 130 for me. But yeah, not a ton of confidence. Eric, you like anything on this fight here?
Yeah, early on, I was kind of leaning toward a bet on Vanderaa based on the possibility of just out-voluming Arlovski, as someone mentioned. But I did end up settling on the Arlovski by decision as the bet that I would choose here. I didn't bet this fight, but the more I thought about it, Arlovski's obviously the better boxer. This is the level of competition that he still beats today. I do wonder, obviously we've been saying this about him forever. The guy is eternal. I do wonder when he's just going to suddenly hit a wall where he doesn't have it anymore, but he's obviously found a game that works really, really well for the physicality that he has at the age that he's at right now. And I don't think that Vanderaa gets past that at this point.
Sounds good. And by the way, I just want to say we have 667 people in the chat. I think that might be a record, but let's try to get to 700. If you guys can smash the like button, I mean, much, much appreciated. Wheezy, what do you like for this fight here?
Yeah, I'll keep it short and simple. I like Arlovski here. I wouldn't even bet the decision line. I'm just going to go minus 150. Brady, you said something hilarious on Stat Diggers. You said Jared Vanderaa is a walking concussion. And I believe that's probably the most accurate description of this guy. I'm going to give you a bold prediction here that Andre Arlovski will attempt his first takedown since the year 2018 in the Shamil Abdurakhimov match. I think he's going to shoot a takedown. I'm not saying he's going to get it. And I think he might even get a finish here, but I would just bet that Arlovski money line minus 150. I am not a fan. I'm not a fan of Vanderaa.
Sounds good. Yeah, I forgot I even said the walking concussion. That's genius. That is genius. But we'll move on to the next fight. And I believe this is going to kick off the main card, and it is Nasrat Haqparast going against Bobby Green. Here's to hear you guys' thoughts on this one. We'll start with you, Eric. What are you liking for the very first fight on the main card?
This is a fight where I don't have any strong convictions here, really. I think it's a fight that could play out pretty closely. So, early on I was thinking like this is a dog or pass situation. If I was going to bet it, I would maybe bet Nasrat because it could play out closely. But the more I thought about it, the more I did end up thinking that if I was going to bet it, I would probably go ahead and lay that minus 150 or so on Bobby Green's money line, or even look at Bobby Green by decision. Obviously he did get that finish on Al Iaquinta, but I think that was more just kind of based on where Iaquinta is than it is on where Bobby Green is. So Bobby Green by decision was sitting at like plus 130 or something like that last time I looked. So I do like Bobby Green here, but not with a lot of conviction.
Yeah, I feel you there. I do have a bet on this fight. And by the way, that Bobby Green by decision is plus 180 on FanDuel, which is pretty ridiculous. It was plus 190, I think, like last night. So looks like people are starting to hit that. It's now at a plus 165. But yeah, that's kind of where I look, but I do like the fight goes to decision. It's a lot more chalky than that Green decision prop, but I think this fight has a very good chance of going to decision, and I think there's a lot of recency bias on this line. We saw Bobby Green go out there and starch a realtor in his last fight, and you go back to that fight, and the fight goes to decision was like something crazy. It was like minus 300 fight goes, like minus 350. People were calling the overs, and the fight starts round 2, starts round 3. They're calling them locks. I'm sure a lot of people's parlays got hurt with, Bobby Green finishing in that fight because he never finishes anybody. And he doesn't get finished as well. I think he's been knocked out maybe one time in the UFC by Dustin Poirier. So yeah, I think there's a lot of recency bias on this line. I think this fight goes to decision more often than not. I did bet the fight goes at minus 160. It's now minus 196. And I really still like that. I still think there's value on that line. I think it goes over unless, Haqparast knocks out Bobby Green, which again, Bobby Green has a very, very good chin. So I think this goes to decision. I think it's competitive. I think Green wins, but I'm going to take the safe route and go that fight goes 196. Wheezy, how about you? What do you like for this fight?
Yeah, I got to correct you, man. You keep saying that Bobby Green knocked out a realtor. He didn't just knock out any realtor. He knocked out Long Island's #1 realtor. So put some respect on his name. That was an impressive finish. That being said, I do have a bet on this fight. Minus 160, fight goes to decision on FanDuel. I really do think this one sees the scorecards, and I also have a half unit on Bobby Green by decision at plus 190. So if Green wins this fight by decision, it's going to be a good day for me. But yeah, that's the way I see this playing out here. I think one of these guys, Green, has wrestling upside. The other one doesn't. And Green's got a tremendous chin, great cardio. I think he's a little better everywhere than Nasrat, with the exception of power. So I'm betting Bobby Green here by decision. And I'm also betting that the fight goes to decision.
Sounds good. Right there with you. Narco, you with us, or are you looking at something else?
Call 1-800-GAMBLER because I'm all over Bobby Green here. I love Bobby Green in this spot. He's shown lately that he's not doing his antics anymore, and it's shown in the results. Like here's the thing in this fight. What I look at is when I see Nasrat, his striking is basically a straight left with a right hook after that. That's all. That's all he throws over and over and over again. I mean, he's a good counter striker, but think about Bobby Green in a competitive fight versus Fiziev, who's technically striking is much better than Nasrat, who has all types of strikes coming at you, including these vicious kicks. And it was competitive. Now it's going to be a stand-up fight against a guy that just throws a straight left and a right hook. And Bobby Green has great head movement, is the cleaner striker here, can grapple if he wants. If he doesn't mess around, I think he cruises to a victory here. I like Bobby Green. I got him at minus 139. I got him by decision at plus 190 and plus 170. I just think he wins this fight if he doesn't mess around. And hopefully he hasn't been doing it lately, and he's taking everything serious.
Yeah, he definitely looks to be taking everything more serious because he's been looking the best he's had in his entire career, up as of late. I guess the only concern would be those Texas judges. If it is a close decision, who knows what they're looking at? They're blind. But yeah, I think Bobby wins this fight here. I'll move on to the next fight. We have Alexander Hernandez going against Renato Moicano. This fight was on the prelims. It looked like Hernandez was crying a little bit, and it looks like they put him on the main card, which was interesting. But yeah, it should be a really good fight. I think this fight, deserves to be on the main card. It's a good one. We'll start with you, Weezy. What do you like for this one?
Yeah, this is a good one, man. I'm on Moicano here, but Moicano has won, I think, 57% of his pro wins by submission and 43% of his pro wins by decision. The Moicano money line is about -145, but you can get Moicano on FanDuel by submission or decision, which are the only ways he's ever won fights, at -110 instead of -145. So if I were on the Moicano side, that's how I would play it. But I don't have a bet on this fight. I just didn't have the sack to get in there and bet Moicano here because Hernandez's power early in the fights does scare me a little bit. But I think Moicano wins this one.
Yeah, I think that's a good look. That submission or decision, because like you said, 0 knockouts in his entire career, which is interesting. I do want to say shout out to everybody in the chat. 706, which I can guarantee that is a record. Thank y'all for hanging out. Please smash the like button. Also subscribe. We go live every week, 1 hour prior to the prelims. We'll go to you now, Narco. What do you like for this fight here?
Yeah, I don't really have a bet on this fight. I couldn't pick one way or another, but when I looked at it, I think fight goes to decision has some value here at +142. I think, Moicano being knocked out by guys, people talk about his chin and stuff, but the guys that are knocking him out are, big power guys like Fiziev, Korean Zombie, and Jose Aldo. I mean, those guys can knock anybody out. So, I honestly don't think his chin is that bad. Yeah, he's been rocked before. Yeah, but he's been knocked out by guys that have a lot more power than Hernandez does. Hernandez does have power early. I think that's kind of when he has his chance to knock out Moicano. But the later this fight goes, the more it's going to favor Moicano. And I honestly like Moicano everywhere here. He's the better technical striker. He's better on the ground. Outside of Hernandez just nuking him early, I don't see it for him. So for me, I just think this goes to the decision, and getting a big plus number like +142, I don't mind it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with your analysis. I do see why Moicano is the favorite. I think he is better, pretty much everywhere. The ground game is top notch. I think even in the striking, Moicano is better. I like his volume. He has a lot of tools on the feet. But I'm actually picking Hernandez to knock him out. I think it will be early. If he does not knock him out, I think Moicano cruises to a decision here. But I'll say Hernandez knocks him out in the first round. Hernandez knockout +275. Hernandez first round knockout +500. I think he gets him out of there early. If not, I think Moicano probably rolls here, but I will take the dog shot on Hernandez to win by KO there. Eric, how about you? What do you like for this fight?
Yeah, I'm excited for this fight. I think it's going to be a good fight, but I had a hard time finding something that I liked here. I felt like the money line was probably pretty close to accurate. I don't mind that shot you just mentioned, Brady, on Hernandez KO in round 1. One thing I was looking at was my Moicano by sub, which was at +250. But I think Hernandez has never been subbed, if I'm not mistaken. I really had trouble finding something I liked here. I thought all the lines were pretty close to where they should be. But, I wouldn't mind maybe even taking a shot on Moicano's money line at -145, but I haven't bet anything on this fight.
Let's see what Moicano by decision is. Moicano decision is +245. I don't think that's horrible. I mean, maybe he submits Hernandez, but Hernandez is a solid grappler. I think Moicano by decision would be where I'd look if I was on the Moicano side. But we'll move on to the next fight. We have 3 fights left and 3 absolute bangers. We're going to kick it off with Jared Cannonier going against Derek Brunson. We'll start with you, Eric. What do you like for this fight here?
I actually did something similar to what I did with that last Francis Ngannou fight, where I ended up betting Gane early, and then the line moved a little bit, and I was able to hedge out and get a little guaranteed profit. I did the same thing here. I bet Brunson early when he was at +170, and then I hedged out of that with Cannonier at -145, and I'm going to get 0.15 units out of it or something like that. But yeah, I just kind of ended up changing my mind a little bit there. But I do think Brunson can probably get takedowns here, but I don't think that he's probably going to be able to hold Cannonier down. And if he is getting takedowns and Cannonier's popping back up again, I think Brunson's going to get tired out. And I think Cannonier will eventually probably be able to get him out of there. So I like Cannonier either on the money line or possibly even by knockout or inside the distance.
All right, sounds good. Going against Blonde Brunson. I see some people in the chat getting upset about that. Weezy, how about you? What do you like for this fight here?
Yeah, I'm with Eric too. I bet Cannonier at minus 157, 1.5 units. Cannonier has really changed his game since he's moved down to middleweight. If you look at his overall takedown defense in the UFC, it's sitting at 62%. 17 of 45 his opponents have been on takedowns. But at the middleweight division, he's successfully defended 22 of 26 takedown attempts against him for 85% takedown defense. And even more importantly than that, at 185, this guy has got a knockdown in 4 of 5 fights. He's landing a knockdown on 2% of the significant strikes that he's landing. So that's averaging 1 out of every 50 significant strikes is going to result in a knockdown here. So I think that improved takedown defense, that massive power that Cannonier is carrying, I could see him winning a decision here, even if Brunson gets takedowns in every round and controls half the fight on the ground, which is very difficult to do. So yeah, I'm betting Cannonier here. I feel pretty good about it. Money line bet minus 157.
There you go. Blood Money, you're bringing up some groundbreaking news. If this is true, I seen on Instagram, Cannonier dyed his hair blonde after the weigh-ins to cancel out the power. If that's true, I feel really good about my bet on Cannonier because that blonde hair was scaring me a little bit for Brunson. But I like Cannonier here. You know, this isn't Kevin Holland. I mean, when Cannonier gets taken down, this guy's so strong. His game is very good. It's hard to take him down in general. You know, at middleweight, 85% takedown defense. And I will say this will be the best wrestler Cannonier has fought, but I think he'll be able to stuff the majority of these takedowns. If he does get taken down, I think he's going to get up. I think he's going to make Brunson work. You know, unlike a Kevin Holland, unlike a Till. And, you know, even in those Till and Holland fights, he got hurt bad in both of them. And this is not a Shabazian who has 1 round of cardio. Cannonier has very good cardio. I just think it's a really tough matchup for Derek Brunson. Could he come in here and wrestle Cannonier for 15 minutes? I mean, maybe. I just think at some point, you know, either Brunson's going to get tired from trying to hold this guy down or, you know, Cannonier's going to catch him. Cannonier's power is no joke. And I do still question the chin of Derek Brunson. Been knocked out 5 times, been hurt a lot more than that. I like Cannonier quite a bit, and he's sitting at minus 140. I did bet him at minus 150. He's now minus 145. I really do like that. Even Cannonier by KO plus 125. I don't hate that, but I ultimately went with the money line there. Narco, what side are you on in this fight?
I'm jumping on the train, man. I really like Cannonier in this spot. You know, I bet him at minus 160, and when I saw it earlier at 140, I loaded up some more because, you know what? It's a bad matchup, man, for Derek Brunson. Like, you know, you're talking about, you know, Brunson's on a 5-fight winning streak, but when you go and look at the 5 guys he's beat, it's not something you're saying, wow, you know, those are some great wins. Like, it's Darren Till, it's Kevin Holland, it's Edmund Shabazian, it's Ian Heinisch, it's Elias Theodorou. I mean, it's not really good wins in my opinion. And now he's facing a big step up, a guy that's athletic as much. He's probably more athletic than Derek Brunson. Has a lot more power than the guys he's faced. I mean, 85% takedown defense. It's a bigger ring. There's a lot of stuff going for Cannonier here, and you know, getting, you know, minus 140, honestly, to me right now is just a great price. So I loaded up more at minus 140.
I mean, I like it. I mean, this is my only money line bet of the night, and I really do like Cannonier in the spot. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, the money seems to be coming in on Brunson. Yeah, minus 140 now. So I'm curious to see where that line does close at fight time. But we'll move on to the co-main event, and this fight's so good. You know, 2 fan favorites going against each other. You have Derek Lewis in his hometown, Tuivasa. You know, a guy that's going to do a shoey if he wins. I mean, this fight's so good. Not much to say here. You know, somebody's probably going to get knocked out. It's probably going to be early. What are you guys looking at in terms of a prop or a bet here? We'll start with you, Weezy.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it simple. The Black Beast by KO minus 120. He is the record holder in the UFC for most KOs ever. Someone's getting knocked out in this fight. Why wouldn't it be Ty here? I'm going with Derek Lewis, Black Beast, minus 120 by KO.
I went with that one as well. You know, funny enough, earlier in the week on FanDuel, it was like minus 110, which made really no sense because Derek Lewis is like minus 170 at the time. Now he's nearly minus 190, and his KO prop is still minus 125. I mean, I would be shocked if Derek Lewis won by decision. I'd be even more shocked if he won by submission. I know he has one in his career, I believe. But I think someone's getting knocked out here. I'm going with Derek Lewis. This is not the type of fighter that typically beats a Derek Lewis. A Cyril Gahn, a guy like Volkov almost beat, Derek Lewis. A guy like Daniel Cormier. I mean, Tai Tuivasa is going to come in here. He's going to try to knock out Derek Lewis, and I think that's the last thing you're going to want to do. So I think Derek Lewis catches him at some point. I don't know which round. I really don't know what's going to happen in this fight, but I do know I would rather take that minus 125 on Lewis KO than the money line at nearly minus 190, minus 200. Eric, you like anything for this fight?
Yeah, I'm feeling kind of the same as you guys. This isn't the kind of fight where I'm going to look to provide a bunch of deep analysis or anything like that. This is just kind of a couple big boys are going to come out there and bang it out. And yeah, I think Derek Lewis is going to come out there and want to put on a show for that crowd. So I didn't bet anything here, but I was looking at Derek Lewis by KO in round 1, which I think was at about plus 175. If I was going to take a poke on something, that'd probably be it.
Sounds good to me. And Narco, you like anything in this one?
Yeah, just a little bit different. Shout out to my buddy Marcus. He pointed out something to me that I did not know. Derek Lewis fights, the last 14 prior to Daukaus have all made it to round 2. So with that being said, fight starts round 2, minus 105 is actually not a bad look. Just looking at the stats, like Derek Lewis is a slow starter historically. Both guys have power. I just kind of feel like they're going to kind of respect each other early. And, but it's two heavyweights. I mean, I don't want to say it's a great bet, but just looking at the numbers, man, like 14 straight fights. He's been to round 2 prior to the last fight. I mean, at minus 105, I'm going to take a shot.
No, I get it. It's a numbers bet. The most Lewis fights do go into the second round. It's a terrifying bet. It's a terrifying bet that I think could hit, but I don't want to sit there watching these guys stand and bang for 5 minutes, but I do like that angle. We'll move on to the main event now. We have Israel Adesanya, Robert Whittaker 2. We'll start with you, Narco. What are you liking for this main event here?
Yeah, you know what? I kind of went back and forth. Initially, prior to tape, I'm saying Israel Adesanya by KO. But when I went in back and taped it, Robert Whittaker was pretty competitive in that first round up until the knockdown. Second round, again, a pretty competitive. I mean, he landed 2 huge punches on Israel before exchanging left hooks where his didn't land and Israel landed first. Israel has the height advantage, the reach advantage. He's the much cleaner striker. But Robert might actually turn to wrestling this time. Yeah, I know people are saying, Israel is probably going to, expect that, but he was expecting that against Vettori and he got taken down, So Robert Whittaker, if the fight is close standing, those takedowns are going to mean a lot and they might steal him rounds. So with that being said, I'm going to take Whittaker by decision at plus 550. I don't think he's going to be able to stop Adesanya, but I do think he might be able to steal a couple of rounds with takedowns and it being competitive on the feet.
Yeah, that line's. I mean, if you like Whittaker, that line is good. Me and Weezy talked about that exact line on the main event deep dive on Monday, and that line's actually still there. So yeah, I think that if you do like Whittaker, I think that's the way to go. Eric, what do you like over this main event here?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as Narco here. Early on, I really felt pretty solid on Adesanya to win here. And then I saw an interview with Whittaker where he talked about, I think his mindset going into that first fight was a little bit like the first time GSP fought Matt Hughes. I think Whittaker had Adesanya on a pedestal. I think that he didn't think he could win in that fight. And in the interview that I saw with him, he talked about how seeing Jan beat Adesanya, seeing Adesanya lose, seeing that there's a blueprint now for how that happens, kind of his mindset is different now. I think he understands that Adesanya can be beaten and understands that he can beat him. And he did mention that he plans to use the wrestling. And so, then I started thinking about that. Yeah, I like Whittaker by decision. I didn't play it. But I don't think that that's a bad spot to look at.
All right, 2 in a row for Whittaker and by decision. Weezy, how about you? What do you like for this main event?
I'm going with Adesanya round 4, 5, or decision at plus 120. I kind of feel like if he gets a knockout, it might be late, but I really do think that this one is going to go to decision. And even with this new found wrestling attack for Whittaker here, he's attempted 22 takedowns in his last 3 fights, and they're all wins. But when you add up the control time that he's gotten in these fights, out of 39 seconds, it's like less than 500 seconds. So it's about 16% control time on those takedowns. And, the thing is that these guys that he's taking down are not really as good as the other ones as Whittaker, or as Adesanya in terms of their takedown defense. So I don't think he's going to be able to win enough minutes on the ground, even if he does wrestle here. And if he does wrestle here, I think he might get knocked out late because I think he might be completely exhausted. So I'm betting Adesanya. I don't want to lay minus 260, minus 275 on the money line. So 4, 5, and by decision at plus 120 sounds like a better way to get him by his best win condition.
Yep, I went with the same thing. So 2 on Whittaker here and then 2 Adesanya. We'll see who gets it done. But we're about to close it up. We have 2 minutes before fight time. I'm going to kick it around real quick. Star was not able to the chat a ton today. We had 14 fights to go through, and we even started early, and we're still about to be at 6 o'clock here Eastern time. So we'll kick it to Narco Cop first. Narco, let them know where they can find you, what you have going on throughout the week, and tell them about your Lambo show that's always fun to watch.
Thanks for having me, Brady. Thanks to everybody in chat. Yeah. Lambo Plays podcast. It's on my channel, Narco Cop MMA. Now I'm actually doing it a little different where I'm going on Twitter Spaces for the prelims, and then we're kicking it off on the YouTube channel for the main card. So it's Narco Cop MMA on YouTube and Narco Cop on Twitter. And thank you to everybody, and let's cash some bets.
Sounds good. Eric, tell them where they can find you, what you have going on throughout the week on an MMA week.
Yeah, thanks to everybody for coming. Thanks to you, Brady. You can find me at Eric Betts Fights on Twitter and on YouTube. I did my first live stream on YouTube today where I kind of went through the whole card. I'm probably going to keep doing that every week. I also kind of put out little breakdown videos and whatever else pops into my head. I don't have a super regular schedule as far as what I'm putting out, but just kind of whatever I think of throughout the week.
There you go. Go check him out, guys. And then Uncle Weezy, let me know where we can find you as well.
Yeah, check me out on my YouTube channel, Uncle Weezy, and you can find me on Pub Sports Radio for Stat Diggers on Sundays, for the DFS show on Wednesdays. We're moving Stat Diggers to after we're moving it to Monday this week because we don't want to mess with the Super Bowl. But thank all you guys for hanging out with us. I can't believe there were more than 700 of you in the chat here today. God bless each and every one of you, and let's stack cash tickets like flapjacks for UFC 271.
For sure. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out. You can follow me on Twitter, DFS_numbers, Instagram, DFS by the numbers. Thank you so much for hanging out tonight. We had a new record over 700. Appreciate you guys. Leave a like on your way out. Subscribe to the channel. We'll be back next week, 1 hour prior to the prelims. As always, good luck on your bets, and let's make some money for UFC